The United States of America is just 2 years shy of turning the big 250, but many are celebrating its history today, particularly here in South Carolina. Fox 24 News Now brings you to the Berkeley County Museum and Heritage Center, where patriots, students, and families alike can tour the magnificent grounds just off the Cooper River and a special exhibit dedicated to highlighting the war that would change our nation forever. And we're inside the museum. I'm sitting here with Shanda Phillips. She is board chair of the museum, and Catherine Noyes, deputy director of land preservation for the American Battlefield Trust. Ladies, thank you for having us here. This has been so exciting. At first, I never knew that there was a museum here in Berkeley County. So maybe you could share a little bit more about the history of the museum and certainly the history of where we're located.
The Berkeley County Museum has actually been here for 30 years. It was started with the Berkeley County Historical Society, and the site was picked because of the historical significance to Berkeley County. The site is on the grounds of the original Fair Lawn Barony, and it's also significant because Stony Landing. So this was the point where people would enter from the Cooper River. It was the last point before they went down the Cooper River to Charleston.
I see. There's so much history here.
Yes.
And what I think a lot of people don't realize is how many battles were fought in South Carolina during the Revolutionary War. And that's where you can come in. I want to learn a little bit more how your trust ties in with what's happening right now with the Berkeley County Museum.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm with the American Battlefield Trust. We are a battlefield preservation and education organization with a nearly 40-year history of preserving battlefield land and teaching the public about what happened on those battlefields and why it still matters to us today. So we work all over the country, but here in South Carolina, we've had some amazing opportunities to work with partners all across the state, but particularly here in Berkeley County, to preserve important battlefield landscapes, to create outdoor classrooms like the one right here at Fort Fairlawn on the grounds of the Berkeley County Museum, and to offer educational exhibits like the American Revolution experience that's here at the museum now, a project we've done in partnership with the Daughters of the American Revolution.
Yeah, talk a little bit more about some of the other groups that are right there on the front line, so to speak, to make sure that our history is being preserved.
So we have the partnership with American Battlefield Trust. We also have partnered with South Carolina Battlefield Trust. The exhibit is sponsored by two of our Daughters of the American Revolution chapters here in this area, being the General Marines Brigade and the Susanna Smith Elliott chapter. So they were sponsored of the exhibit, and now the exhibit will be here in the museum through the end of October. But you can come during Colonial Day also and see the exhibit. So we actually timed all of this together so that we'd all be partners and people can come out.
Can you talk a little bit about the people and the passion that it takes to make sure that for generations to come, people don't forget their history?
I think that's what's so key with the Daughters of the American Revolution, and even here being in Berkeley County. Berkeley County did have the #1 battles and skirmishes in South Carolina. Francis Marion is our patriot here. But one of the things people forget, it's not just about Francis Marion. Berkeley County also had Henry and John Lawrence that are buried here in Berkeley County. William Moultrie was from Berkeley County. So we have all of these patriots that these groups, such as the DAR, the American Battlefield Trust, the South Carolina Battlefield Trust, even our 250 committees, are working to promote this and educate our citizens.
And this also segues into a question I wanted to ask you, Catherine, in that what is the challenge as far as preserving the battlefields of this nation and talking about development and how that's chipping away and eating away at some very hallowed ground?
Yeah, absolutely. And we really want to preserve the places that provide that unique character to a community and also are so significant to the history of our country and our world. And so that's why we do the work we do. We have preserved nearly 60,000 acres across the country. And so you always are, looking at development and looking at ways to make sure that these places remain protected and remain important parts of communities. And I think the work that's been done here in Berkeley County, and particularly at Fort Fairlawn, really highlights why we do the work we do. It takes a place of such significance, as such a historically significant location, protects it in perpetuity. I mean, this is such a unique location in that there's an extant British fort from the Revolutionary War there. And so we have real opportunities to let people experience that firsthand.
We want it to be an education, number one, that now you can take pride in where you're moving to or where you're living, that this was instrumental, and now we can work with people like this to preserve. If you don't know your history, you won't be preserving it.
I love that. Wonderful note to end on. Thank you so much, Shanda, and thank you so much, Catherine. The American Revolution Experience is a traveling exhibition. It's on tour September 16th through October 25th. Berkeley County Museum, come down. It's going to head up to Georgetown County after that. We'll be back after this.